pass the floor to Sheldon to take it forward.
Thanks, Thomas. Very good afternoon, everyone. I'm sure more or less everybody's really, really fed up of attending webinars, doing webinars, talking about the same thing. I know that I am. So I'm trying to keep this really brief. All I'm trying to do is share my perspective with all of you all. And it's a perspective actually that's been picked up by talking to various people from this industry, outside this industry, and also with people from around the world. It's not new that this industry has completely been crippled with the coronavirus. It's not just brought this industry to a standstill in India, but worldwide. And I'm not sure when that's going to be unshackled. Will travel come back, especially in India? Yes, travel definitely will come back because India has always been one of the most resilient countries in the world when it comes to travel. Uh, how has that been? It's been proved time and again. We never stopped traveling when our country has been in crisis. We've never stopped traveling when there's been a crisis in the Middle East, when there's been a crisis in Thailand, when there's been a crisis in Europe or whatever you have to talk about. So it has been proven that Indian travelers will travel and they are the least concerned about global tragedies. But when will this crisis come back? That is the big question. And I don't think any of us or anybody around the world who have attended a lot of experts speaking about this over the last 1 or 2 months, and no one has correct answer to when this is currently all going to come back. There are plenty of travel surveys being done. They're being done by all and sundry. They're being done by publications. They are being done by travel companies. They are being done by research houses like McKinsey and whatever, right? But I think, in my opinion, it's too early to do a travel survey because nobody has a clue what is going to happen in the next few months. Travel surveys, if they needed to be accurate, I think should be done somewhere in late August, and that's actually going to give us a clear idea of maybe what's going to happen. Right now, these surveys mean nothing. Because in India, as we sit right now, the worst of the corona crisis is yet to come. There's going to be a further shakeout. There's going to be more job losses. There's going to be a far bigger spike in infection and in the fatalities. So let's make no mistake about this. Our spike is coming in July and August. We've been relatively safe till now. Once things settle, only then can we make any real predictions. So I'm not sure how people are actually talking about stuff right now. So for airlines, these surveys are crucial because their deployment depends on this. When do they deploy? What fleet size is going to happen based on this? And if I have to really hazard an educated guess based on what all I've heard, I would say that travel would return in some form by November or December this year. It will enter a consolidation kind of rebuilding phase in all of 2021. Let's make no mistake. There are a lot of people I've been speaking to even yesterday who said that travel is going to rebound and we'll be rocking by the first quarter of 2021. I don't think so. We're going to be in this consolidation and rebuilding phase in 2021 before we see some stability in the year 2022. And maybe late in the year 2022, we will be back in all our travel numbers of what we were in 2019. So I'm saying that in late 2022 is when we will achieve the 2019 figures and the actual growth and I'm saying worldwide, this is not restricted to India. So I see that growth in travel will actually resume from the year 2023. It's going to take us a couple of years just to establish and get back to where we were. And unfortunately, that's how I see it. But we will see a lot of new trends happening. We will see consolidation happening for survival. We will see new business models emerging all the time. Because the world of travel as we know it has seen a complete transformation and will continue to see it. We haven't seen anything yet. Alternate revenue streams are going to be very interesting, but that's going to be the order of the day for most travel companies. As you can already see in cases like people like Make My Trip, and stuff like that. They've already started exploring alternate revenue streams, and that's going to be a big one going forward. The coronavirus situation, while I may have sounded very negative so far, there are quite a few positives also that have actually come both at the macro level as well as when we look at the micro level only at this industry. The big one is that the world is actually healing itself from, all the destruction that we have caused. It's coming back to what it used to be. Global warming is improving. Greenhouse gases are improving. You can see it in the news every day. The situation in terms of the pollution, the greenhouse effect, all of that is coming down. The ozone layer is closing up, and that's on the macro. That's on the macro stuff. In India, actually, this is a big opportunity for us economically, because the world order after this would have changed significantly. And in India, we stand to gain big time if we can take our chances. Because obviously for political reasons, we're not going to talk about which are the countries that are going to be facing the flak or going down. But all of this doesn't affect in India at all. India is in a great place. In the next 2 or 3 years, this is a great chance for us, not only in the travel industry, but in all our other places in the economy, to take our rightful place in the world stage. And this coronavirus is going to have a serious backlash on some of the other countries that have been world powers till now. And I just hope the government actually does things right. A few policy changes and could make us a world superpower overnight. On the micro level, for the travel industry, I see that a lot of the pretenders, a lot of the fly-by-night operators are going to fall away completely. Only the real serious players will survive this up to the year 2022. And I don't see that as a bad thing. The business models will evolve. There will be new avenues that have come up for cost cutting. We've been seeing the benefits of this work from home model. That's going to allow a lot of travel agencies and travel companies to actually cut costs and become far more efficient than what they were. Low cost travel will actually rule. Right now, we've been chasing a lot of luxury travel. We've been chasing a whole lot of other travel. But I think in the short term, in the next 12 to 18 months, we're going to see that low cost travel is going to rule the roost. The airlines and the hotels will have to comply with the customers' choices. And just like everywhere in the world, there's going to have to be very attractive packages that come out for a 7-day holiday and a 14-day holiday. And all the low-cost airlines are going to have to tie up with the airlines and the DMCs to offer these choices, because that's what's going to come back first before anything else. For the airline, the good part is the fuel cost, which was one of their really, really big costs, have now come down drastically. And it's not just come down right now. I think it's here to stay at this level for some time. So one of their costs has really come down, and I'm sure that they can offer a lot of travel because of this. I'm sure they'll be able to bring the costs of travel down. The good news again is for the travel agent. The travel agent or the travel consultant will become very important again, as far as I can see, because all the customers today are going to go back for advice and help and making changes in bookings and refunds and so on and so forth. So the customer that I see will no longer be depending solely on an automated app or a booking tool, because that's not going to do all of this for them. So that's another positive outcome from from this crisis. Travel agencies are going to come back and in a big way. The significant change in travel preferences also in leisure and business travel will definitely happen. There's going to be more FIT. There's going to be less GIT, much less group travel. The weddings that we are seeing, which destination weddings, are going to become much smaller. There's going to be smaller MICE groups traveling for business travel and MICE. And this will also result in more opportunities for smaller and mid-scale travel companies. It's no longer the large 10 or 20 travel companies that are going to rule the roost, because with smaller groups, it becomes easier for smaller and mid-scale travel companies and the real SMEs and the MSMEs that can actually take advantage of this. So no longer will this industry be overly dependent on the large companies. To take advantage of the government packages, which everyone is crying about, so the government's been doing nothing. So to take advantage of this, I actually think that a lot of the travel agencies, a majority of the travel agencies in India, must immediately apply and register under the SME and the MSME status. We do not have the proper licensing. Most of us are not registered under an SME or an MSME status, and that needs to be done. If that is done, there are a lot of benefits that have been announced in that sector, which will definitely help the travel agencies come back on track. So I see that all of these are actually the positives that have come out. I'm not saying that all of this will improve overnight. And yes, the biggest winner in all of this, as Madhura was also saying, and I think Hector is going to talk about it, is domestic tourism. While short-haul tourism and travel to the Indian subcontinent is definitely going to be the one that is going to be on the rise, domestic tourism is going to be the next superpower if the states in India can take advantage of this. Indians are going to travel in India out of compulsion, and this is going to happen after a really long time. So I'm not going to talk too much about domestic tourism because Hector is actually the expert on this, and this is what we need to talk about. These are just my opening remarks and my perspective that I've gained over the last 2.5 months. I'm not sure if any of this is true, but this is what I feel. Thank you.
Thank you, Sheldon, for your enlightening quick note.